G'day YouTube, it's Ralph here, and in today's video I'll be sharing my plans for my shred on the next 12 to 16 weeks. So before I jump into the topic, I'll just like to ask for your support, guys. If you can just like this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that I can grow my channel and help me reach out to those people who are actually looking for advice and inspiration on achieving their weight loss or fat loss goals. And if you guys haven't hit the notification bell so you guys will be informed of my future videos, please hit that notification bell. If you guys have any friends or relatives that is interested on listening to topics about losing weight or fat or just being healthy in general, please share this video to them so we could spread some awareness on how to look after ourselves physically and mentally. And also, for those people who don't know me, I'd just like to take this moment to introduce myself. Again, my name is Ralph and I've been a nurse here in Australia for the past decade with an experience in intensive care emergency department and now currently practicing in peri-operative care setting. I like to spend my time on the evidence-based approach in terms of like looking after our health with regards to nutrition and exercise, as well as I do have an interest in the bodybuilding space. So I do use all this approach together with my knowledge from my profession in order for me to achieve the results that I'm looking for, which is getting a lean and healthy body. So without further ado, let's jump into the topic of this video. So with this video, I'll just like to change it up a bit. So instead of me giving some tips and advice, I would like to share my journey on the next coming weeks as I'm going to my shred until winter hits us here in Australia. So currently this recording, it's the last week of January. So I'd like to use this moment to continue with my shredding. I think it'll last for 12 to 16 weeks. Normally I'd like to max out my shredding process for a maximum of 16 weeks because it's just easier and less taxing to our body. And I'll be sharing all my strategies in terms of like nutrition, resistance training, and supplementations that I'll be using throughout this journey. So all the things that I've been preaching in my previous videos will all be applied through my shredding process. And the aim for this shredding is to lose a little bit of fat on my body, as I've gained a good amount of weight and body fat during my mini bulk process. As during holiday season, sometimes we tend to lose track on our nutrition, like it happens to me too, because I've been eating some greasy and tasty food when I had my holidays in the Philippines. So there's no way I'm hitting like my maintenance or my deficit calories when I'm indulging myself with Filipino foods. I did gain like 5 kilograms in a matter of 6 weeks, and I did expect that I'll be gaining a little bit of body fat and weight on my mini bulk process after my 20-week shred. It's just my way to give my body some break from all the stress that I've been putting it into with eating less calories and straining it from resistance training. So after that 5-week break that I had, it's time for me to get back into the process of shredding or losing that body fat, but at the same time trying to keep as much muscle mass that I could keep during the 12 to 16 week process. So in the next clips, I'll be sharing the foods that I'll be eating and also the supplementation that I'll be having throughout the process. So let's jump into the next clip. Alright, I just wanted to show you guys what I will be eating on the next 12 to 16 weeks of my shred. So I just grouped it according to the macros that I normally prioritize on my diet. Mainly the carbohydrates, protein, and my healthy fats. So I just wanted to start off with my carbohydrates. Obviously the staple will be rolled oats, white rice, and a variety of fruit and vegetables. The reason being I chose all of these carbohydrates, it's because it caters all my needs in terms of like recovery, energy, sustainability, and also just to help me reach all my goals in terms of like losing fat. When I'm going to a sustainable long-term shred, I make sure that all the foods that I'm putting in my body is actually helping me achieve that result that I'm after. Meaning I'm trying not to lose much of my muscle mass that I've obtained from my mini bulk, because I just finished my bulk this past Christmas holidays. I went for a 6-week mini bulk after my 20-week shred. The reason being is just because I was so depleted after 20 weeks of shred, and I just have to replenish all the glycogen that I've lost in my muscle store. So that's just what normally happens when you diet for a long time, is that you deplete all those glycogen in your muscle fiber, and I'm just trying to restore them so that it can give my muscle that thickness and fullness, so it looks really great when I get those pumps post-workout. And like I mentioned before in the past, I prioritize nourishing micronutrient carbohydrate foods. I normally like to mix my post-workout shake with some blueberries, because it is a BDNF type of food, meaning brain-derived nootropic factor. It acts like a fertilizer in our brains. So I like that because it does help me with my mental sharpness and awareness as well. Normally I'd like to use either broccoli or asparagus pairing up with my chicken and rice diet. This week I'm just going with asparagus because it's on a good price also. It just helps to pull out all those water weight that I've accumulated from my 5-week bulk. We got some sweet potatoes here. I like to eat these before bedtime. It's just because it's a slow digesting carbohydrates. It is a very unique carbohydrates because it's quite high glycemic when you cook it in a certain way, such as air frying it or cooking it in an oven. But if you boil it, it actually slows down the glycemic index. So it does keeps me satiated throughout the overnight. So that's actually helpful in terms of like keeping my hunger down, especially after waking up in the morning. That is that. We got some green apples here. They're quite low in calories. Also, apples are known to be rich in micronutrients, and it has sorbitol in it that helps with our bowel regulation. So it does help with the cleansing process in terms of like getting rid of that waste in our body. So that's why I like incorporating apples in my diet. Watermelon. I've learned this from my previous boss in my work back then. He's like a professional bodybuilder on the side, and he likes to have watermelons on his shred, just because it doesn't contain much calories and it makes him feel full because it's very rich in nutrients such as vitamin B. You can eat a lot of these without actually consuming a lot of calories because most of it just contains water and fiber. So, and it tastes good as well because, as I mentioned before, I got a sweet tooth, and this helps me curb my sweet tooth cravings. Other things that I like to incorporate in my diet, we got some fermented carbohydrates here. We got some kimchi. It's a traditional spicy cabbage fermented food. It's really good. I like to pair it with my chicken and rice. Just having some fermented food on each meal that I have actually helps with my gut microbiome, which actually helps with my gut health and digesting or extracting all the nutrients that I have from my food. And this one's just sauerkraut. I've learned this from Tim Ferriss and Dr. Andrew Huberman. they always advise to have these on their dietary requirements. It's rich in probiotics, which helps again with microbiomes and diversification of your microbiomes in your gut. So that is that. So that's all the carbohydrates. And now let's go into my favorite part, which is protein. So obviously these are all my seasonings in terms of like cooking a king of my protein. So I don't use chicken breast. I used to use chicken breast when I was really like low in calories. For the reason being, chicken breast is leaner and just have less of fat. But after my bulk, I've kind of increased a significant amount of weight, and it does allow me to have a little bit more calories than my previous cut or shred. So, and I like chicken thighs over chicken breasts just because it's tastier and has a little bit of fat in it. So it does help me on meeting all my fat intake on my daily needs, because I do restrict my fat intake when I shred, and even with a controlled amount of fats that I have with my diet, sometimes I still hit under 50 grams, which I normally like to have like at least 50 to 60 grams of fat per day, just for the sake of not having issues with my hormonal imbalance. We're talking about like reduction of testosterone production in our body, which is not great if you're trying to lose weight, because you want to achieve that hypertrophy through your resistance training. So that's why I try to be mindful with my dietary fat intake too. So that's chicken thighs. I like eating wild-caught salmon. It's just because it's the best source for omega-3 fatty acids, and it's a lean protein as well compared to farmed salmon. But I do get it on a canned form because getting it fresh is really expensive. So I've been eating this for the past 6 months. I didn't really have any issues with my sodium level. So because I do eat like very clean calories normally, and my sodium intake is not really that high. But if you have like a diet that is really rich in sodium, such as ultra processed foods, those are normally rich in sodium, and if you're gonna add this into your diet on top of that ultra processed diet, you'll definitely hit a surplus on your sodium intake. So if you're tracking fine with your calories, I think this is a good protein source, especially if you're trying to save a couple bucks, because bodybuilding is an expensive sport. So that's that. And this is a frozen beef patty. So I normally buy my red meat on meats form. It's just cheaper compared to buying steaks. And also the reason why I like it in this way, it's just easier to consume rather than just eating steaks every day. Because I tried incorporating red meat in my diet every other day in the past, eating like steaks, and I just didn't like it at all. It's just really hard to chew, and also it's just a struggle to digest, and I wasn't really a fan of it. But when I found out that I can easily eat my red meat through this form, which is making a burger patty. So what I normally do is I just mixed it with salt and pepper and some spices that I feel like putting into it, and then just put in the freezer. That'll last me for a week, sometimes even more than a week, because I do eat my salmon and my red meat on dinner time every other day. So I try to switch them up. One more thing, protein yogurt. I like to put this in my snack, mixing it with some protein powder and some cacao powder just to add some bit of complexity in the flavor. Also, again, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps with brain health. I do mix it with just pitted dates because it adds some sweetness into it. Also, it's rich in fiber, and add it with some walnuts too. Again, walnuts, one of the BDNF rich foods. That's why I like incorporating that in my diet. But you guys can find some ways to play around with your food on how it will cater your needs. That is that for the protein. And now we're going to my fats. So avocado, I'd like to incorporate this on my chicken and rice. It's just because rice is quite high in glycemic index, and just to slow it down, I mix it with some avocado. Also, avocado is rich with omega-3. It's BDNF again, with brain health. Also, it's just rich in nutrients and fiber in terms of like incorporating on my dietary needs. If I'm eating red meat, I'm not eating salmon. I do take a couple of capsules or tablets of fish oil just to get that omega-3 fatty acid into my dietary needs. This olive oil. The reason why I like to incorporate olive oil on my diet, because again, it's a healthy source of fat and it's rich in antioxidant. There's a carotenoids that is really good on eliminating the risk of cancer. So it's rich in polyphenols. The way you know that it's rich in polyphenols, obviously, if you look at the ingredients, it does say that there's a total amount of biophenols or squalene on it. So those are the polyphenols that you look after when you buy this extra virgin olive oil. And also, the way to know it is when you, I don't advise it to everyone, but when you just take it purely by itself, you'll feel that burning sensation in your throat. That's actually the carotenoids or the polyphenols doing that into your throat. So that's just how you know that you got a real extra virgin olive oil in your diet. So that's basically all the foods that I'm mainly eating for the next 12 to 16 weeks. The goal is to be consistent and just stick with the process of having these, and my goal is to drop like 3 to 5 kilograms of fat in my weight. It's gonna be hard because most of the time when I try to shred down, I do lose a lot of muscle in the process, but that's just unavoidable. It does happen. That's just what happens to our body when we're trying to lose weight. It's just gonna start drawing up some fuel into the other source, into our body parts such as fats mainly. That's the objective, but also sometimes it takes some energy from our muscles too. So that is that for the food that I'll be eating. The next one that I'll be sharing is the supplement choices that I have to help me achieve my results through my shredding. These are all my supplements that I'll be using throughout my shred. I do use it when I bulk as well, when I'm trying to add some lean tissue in my physique. But these are just all the things that I've mentioned in my previous video. I've been using all these supplements for the past 12 months and it has greatly helped me on achieving the results that I'm after. So let's just start off with our tier 1 supplements. Obviously, whey protein isolate. This is not a sponsored video, but this is just the brand that I prefer because I like to buy grass-fed whey protein isolate just because that, number one, I'm lactose intolerant and whey protein isolate tends to help me on digesting this protein powder. So I had issues with whey protein concentrate before and just had some stomach cramps and it just sent me to the toilet like multiple times, so that wasn't a fun experience. So whey protein isolate, grass-fed, just because I wanted to have the cleanest and purest form of protein after my workout. It's just because that will be the most vital protein intake after we work out, just because we basically stimulated all the muscles that we're trying to hit, and then in order for us to nourish that, we need to provide it with an immediate nourishment, which is the amino acid that we get from protein. And I just pair it with some digestive enzyme just to help me digest the milk product on this whey protein isolate, because even if I take this by just itself, I still experience a little bit of cramping. So the lactase, the digestive enzyme offers help me on digesting the protein. So obviously creatine just helps with strength and also gains, helps with brain cognition too. So it's very helpful in terms of like just helping me achieve with my goals, and keeps me mentally sharp as well. So I normally use this on my pre-workout, also with my post-workout shake. So creatine is definitely my tier 1 supplement. Next one is pre-workout. This pre-workout has all the things that I've said before that I look for in terms of like, what do I want in my pre-workout. This pre-workout, the reason why I like it, this particular brand, is because it doesn't have much caffeine in it. So that's one thing, because I'm quite sensitive with caffeine and I don't want to overconsume caffeine in my diet, because that tends to create more problems in the long run, such as like consistent throbbing headache, jittery, and just being unsettled. Sometimes it does affect with my sleep cycle too. So that's why I recommend this product, even though this is not a sponsored video. I just like bulk nutrients because they're cheap, they're bang for buck, and I do support my own local brand too. Decent amount of caffeine, it has a little bit of creatine in it, but the thing that I look for is beta-alanine and citrulline malate. Just helps with the pump and also sustained energy that it gives me throughout my workout. So good circulation as well, or blood flow during my workouts too. So definitely I recommend this product. So go check them out if you live in Australia. This is my pre-workout formula. And electrolytes. So I just buy on Coles or local camps out here. It just says here sugar-free electrolytes, because we're trying to shred and we're just trying to be mindful with our calories. That's why I like to mix this with my pre-workout along with my creatine. It just gives me that energy that I needed prior to my workout, so that my muscles are full, and when it's full it means that it's filled with fuel and I can get through my workouts really well. Because I do train really hard and I wanted to sustain that intensity throughout my workout. So, electrolytes. Next one is just vitamin C. Again, with immune support, also helps with recovery too. Does help with healing the muscle fiber that we damage through the resistance training. So, vitamin C is a must. Multivitamins, the things that is lacking into my diet. Multivitamins definitely helps to fill in that gap or void. So that is that. Vitamin D, again with immune support. Also, it does help with hormonal factors such as testosterone production, which helps me achieving more gains or keeping that muscle mass that I try to achieve from my bulk. So vitamin D is a must in my opinion. To my supplementation, probiotics, it's really good as well with your gut health or microbiome. So I normally buy the probiotics that is multi-spectrum, but since I have this sitting on my shelf, I'm just trying to finish this off and then I'll go for the multi-spectrum probiotic. I normally take this first thing in the morning with my vitamin C. Vitamin B12. B12 helps with obviously energy and brain health too. So that's a must for me. Got some lion's mane mushroom here. It's a BDNF type of supplement, so it does help with me being mentally sharp. Also being focused on my daily activities. So pine mace mushroom is a really good supplement. Turmeric just helps with my ligaments and joint health, because when you shred, you put so much stress on your joints, and a better way to counteract that is just through supplementation of turmeric. Magnesium, I do take this before going to bed, because magnesium is a mineral that helps us to relax our muscles. So it does help relax us overall in general. I do normally take this before bedtime. It just helps me to recover from my training and also just recovery from my hectic day. Those are all my tier 1 supplements. I know it's a lot, but these are all the supplements that I've tried and tested, because I did some experimentation back in the days. That I do buy some stupid stuff back in the days too, like, you know, things that is not really necessary in terms of like my goals. We're talking about like branched chain amino acid, even though this one has branched chain amino acid, but it's just a bonus. But you don't really need that. So you already get a leucine from whey protein isolate, L-carnitine or fat burners. I did try those in the past. They don't really work unless you put your body on caloric deficit. So they don't really have enough scientific evidence or research data to support the thesis that it does help you burn fat. So that's why I just don't bother buying those fat supplements unless it helps me in terms of like with my long-term goal. So with tier 2 supplements that I have here, I only have 3. Liver detox, even though I know our liver's main purpose is to detoxify all the junk that we put in our body, but it's just an insurance just to look after my liver, because I do put a lot of stress on my liver when I go on like for a short bulk or like a long bulk. We do have to look after the liver. It acts like a strainer in terms of like filtering all the nutrients that we get from our nourishment, and it does help separate all those junk away from our body. That is that. And I talked about these 2 supplements in the past, ashwagandha and rhodiola rosea. It's not really like an absolute requirement, but I just like to have it in my supplement group. It's just because I do work on a very stressful job and business. I need to be mentally sharp throughout the day in terms of like my workout, also through my shred, because when you shred, you're eating less calories and your mental energy gets less too. So these 2 supplements help me to just relax a bit and preserve my mental capital throughout the shredding process. So I just like to incorporate these 2. Rhodiola rosea, mainly used for mental fatigue, and ashwagandha just helps me to reduce the stress. So it does help with my recovery process and keep all those muscle gains that I achieved from resistance training. So these are all my choice of supplements that I'll be consuming for the next 12 to 16 weeks of my shred. So that is that. Alright, so that's basically the food choices that I have, and also the supplement choice that I have that I'll be using throughout my shredding process. I'll change up a bit in terms of like uploading of my YouTube videos every week, because I normally upload 2 videos per week, and on my previous videos I'm just like randomly giving advice in terms of like technical approach on how to lose body fat or weight, and also the mindset on how to keep sticking with the process. So this time around I'll be switching it up a bit, and I'll be uploading some tips on how to achieve results on the weekdays. Normally I upload my first video on the midweek, and then on the weekends I'll be uploading my update in terms of like my shredding, where am I at, and how am I going with my workout and with my diet. So you guys have an idea on how I attack or approach the shredding process, especially if I'm doing it on a long sustainable manner. So the goal of the shredding process, like I said, lose like 5 kilograms of weight and try to keep as much muscle mass I could keep from this shredding process, because obviously I'm into the bodybuilding space and I would want to look at least like athletic or jacked when I burn all those body fat that I acquired or accumulate from the metabolic during holidays. So I'm really excited for you guys to watch my next upcoming videos in terms of like my journey on going through this shredding process. And I hope you guys would learn a lot from me on how I approach my nutrition, my recovery, and also my resistance training. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that. And feel free to share this video to your friends or relatives who are interested on watching some tips and also learning some things on how I approach my shredding process. And if you guys haven't hit the notification bell, please do so you guys will be updated on my future upcoming videos. So thank you guys for watching. Again, stay fit, stay strong, and keep crushing it, and see you in my next video. Have a good one.